Oh no! What's this? Dragon Drive at number 5 on the bestsellers list. Outselling Mario Party and Mario Kart World and Cyberpunk 2077. Could it be that Dragon Drive is actually successful and that people are enjoying it and that the people crying about it are just a vocal minority? Oh, what's this? A couple of third party games ahead of it? I thought third party games weren't selling on Switch too. So to just give you a bit of a breakdown as to like what's happened over the past month is that we have gotten a number of high profile releases. We got like Street Fighter 6 DLC. We got Dragon Drive. We got like Madden. Like Donkey Kong Bonanza at number 1. Over the past month, the Nintendo Switch has gotten a number of high profile games that have proved that this console is not only viable, it is the market leader. And I think the success of Dragon Drive, more than anything, kind of emphasizes that. Like, I really feel like like most YouTubers and journos really thought this was going to fail. But the more I play the game, the more I realize just how this is cut from the same cloth as Wii Sports. This is an innovative, motion controlled sports game that really has this very high skill ceiling and is endlessly replayable. Like all the coping people have about like motion controls being obsolete or the aesthetics not being there or not having a single player campaign, all of that is a giant cope, and it really does need to be called out for what it is just butthurt millennials regurgitating arguments that were old and tired during the Wii era, right? People really thought that the Wii was going to be a dying fad and that motion controls were not here to stay. And now, in 2025, they are the industry standard, and we're still in this position where everybody wants to cope and seethe about it. It's embarrassing, but like, the thing that really shocks me about this is just how well this game is doing. Just how popular it is, just how many people I've seen who have been, like, very much enjoying themselves. To me, it couldn't be more obvious that the people who hated this game, people like, say, RGT85 and the Lonely Goomba, people with nothing better to do but complain about every single Nintendo game that comes out, like, these guys had no intention of ever even buying the game. Like, the Lonely Goomba, I believe, didn't even play the demo. If I recall correctly, he certainly didn't buy it. So, when you look at like those individuals, when you look at like those chuckleheads, when you look at like just what's going on in the wider gaming community, much like ARMS before it, Dragon Drive absolutely has an audience. However, there is a counter audience that desperately want to see the game fail and be regarded as a defining example as to how out of touch and worthless Nintendo actually is. That is the reoccurring trend we see with these kinds of games, right? This is getting hit with the same like allegations that ARMS got, but for a lot of reasons, they don't seem to be as effective because ARMS came out and it was initially declared a failure by the FGC, by general audiences, by Nintendo fans, because like, it just didn't take off, like it just didn't go anywhere. Like, I remember when people were saying that Min Min would that no ARMS wasn't going to get any representation in Smash, right? And of course that didn't happen. Of course, ARMS has remained very relevant, and of course has gotten an update on Nintendo Switch 2, and of course is still played and enjoyed by fans like myself to this day. But good luck getting the audience that never even gave the game a shot to realize that, like just like Tokyo Mirage Sessions, just like Star Fox Zero, just like Devil's Third, these games clearly have a dedicated following, and yet for whatever reason, there's this like terminally online group of obsessed Nintendo YouTubers that have to hate on them and disregard them for not being a new 3D Mario or Zelda. Right? That's really what this is about at its core. Like sports games in particular seem to be very susceptible to this. Mario Strikers Battle League and Nintendo Switch Sports were two of the most hated games on Nintendo Switch 1, and both of those games were fantastic and ones that I still play to this day. You really expect me to take people who disregard every sports game that comes out seriously when it comes to Nintendo's new sports title. You really want me to take the people who complain about everything seriously when all their when they complain nonstop about every major Nintendo release. We've heard this for the past 3 months. The past 2 months actually. It's not been that long. For the past 2 months, we've been told that there are no games on Nintendo Switch 2, that there's no reason to buy it, that everything's a disappointment, and yet, like, look at this. Donkey Kong Bonanza, new game. Top of the charts. Absolutely worth picking up the console for. Jamboree TV, great game, absolutely worth picking up the title for. Oh, by the way, I never did make a video about like Jamboree TV and how underappreciated that is. Like Jamboree to begin with was one of the best games on Switch One, and now that it's got an update on Switch Two, it has remained relevant and talked about. Like Dragon Drive, a completely new original Nintendo IP that's going to appeal to a lot of people. Mario Kart World, a system seller. I know a lot of people don't like to admit it, but this and Bonanza absolutely are system sellers, and that is going to become self-evident as you see these games continue to be in the charts for months and months. Not because like there's no competition, but because they're just so good. You know, uh, Zelda's on there, both of them, Street Fighter 6, Fantasy Life. Like there's just so much in. See, like Dragon Drive is the most popular download only game for sure. So, with that being said, like, what exactly are the copes going forward going to be? Because you can look at the upcoming page and see all kinds of interesting stuff. You see Shantae Advance, coming out this month. You see, let's see, where is it? Yeah, Shinobi's coming out. You see, Daemon X Machina is coming out. Chronos, a lot of people are excited for that because they're idiots. But like, yeah, like there's so much like coming out to look forward to. It is impossible to downplay and disregard the Switch 2 at this point. Like, ooh, Trails in the Sky. Let's add that to the wish list. Yeah. So, oh, Death on the Nile. Holy fucking. Well, that is a good book. Yeah, I just read that recently. Death on the Nile. In Death on the Nile, a peaceful cruise on the Nile is disrespected by a devil crime. Even for Agatha Christie fans. Ooh, I'm gonna have to pick that up. I'm gonna have to pick that up. Death on the Nile. Yeah, I love Death on the Nile. It's one of my favorite Agatha Christie books. So, yeah, yeah, Pac-Man World 2, Final Fantasy Tactics. Like, look at all this stuff that's coming out. That's worth getting hyped for. Like, are you Persona 3? Like, what exactly? What exactly is disappointing about the Switch 2 in this at this point in time? It already has a lineup of great games. Dragon Drive is phenomenal. There's so much to like and appreciate about this console. Like there's just so much going on here. How exactly can you gaslight yourself into thinking that this console is a failure or irrelevant?